Have you ever wondered how some websites just get you? How they seem to know exactly what you want? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain on a course that teaches you that very skill in just 10 hours using one of the most powerful tools out there, Google Analytics.
You know the feeling, right? It almost feels like magic. You watch one video, just one, about baking bread, and bam, suddenly your entire feed is a masterclass in sourdough starters. That's not magic. That is all data. And the skill behind understanding that data, it has a name.
And that skill is called Web Analytics. This course is all about teaching you to speak its language. You know, it's the engine that powers all that personalization and makes the web feel so much more intuitive for every single one of us.
So the course kicks off with the most fundamental question you could ask. What in the world is Web Analytics?
Think of it this way. It's the difference between navigating a new city with a map versus just wandering around in the dark hoping you find your way. Businesses and creators use Web Analytics to understand what you, the user, actually want. It lets them make smart, data-backed decisions instead of just taking a wild guess. Now, to navigate this world of data, you're going to need the right toolkit. So, the course starts by building up your vocabulary with some really key terms.
First things first, you gotta learn the lingo. Terms like users, sessions, and page views, these are like the nouns and verbs of data analysis. You'll even get into metrics like bounce rate, which is a super important clue for figuring out if your content is actually hitting the mark. These are the words that let you tell powerful stories with data.
And here's a perfect example of how the course clears things up. A user, that's a unique person. That's you. A session is basically a single visit. So let's say you check out a website in the morning and then pop back in again in the afternoon. You're still just one user, but you've actually created two separate sessions. Getting these distinctions right is absolutely crucial.
All right, so after you get the theory down, the journey gets really practical. Session 2 is all about rolling up your sleeves and shifting from just learning about the tool to actually using it. And if the technical stuff sounds a little intimidating, don't worry. This course totally demystifies it. Students get walked through a super simple 3-step process. You create an account, you install a little piece of code on a practice website, and just like that, boom, you're collecting real data.
Okay, once that data starts flowing in, the real investigation begins. And the first piece of the puzzle is always understanding the who. The audience reports in Google Analytics answer this for you, showing you things like demographics, what people are interested in, and even what kind of phone or computer they're using.
Next up, you start tracing their origins. Where did they come from? Did they find the site from a Google search, a link on social media, or did they just type the address right in? The acquisition reports show you these pathways, so you know which channels are bringing in the most people.
And finally, you get to maybe the most crucial question of all. What did they do once they got there? Behavioral reports literally map out the user's journey, which pages they looked at, how long they stuck around, and at what point they decided to leave. It's kind of like following their digital footsteps.
So you see what's happening? Once you can answer these questions, your role completely transforms. You're not just learning a tool anymore, you're becoming a full-on data detective, piecing together clues to solve the puzzle.
This quote just perfectly sums up the professional mindset the course gives you. You know, opinions are one thing, but making solid decisions, that requires evidence. And data, well, data is the evidence.
And here is that principle in action. A guess, I think our visitors will like green buttons, leads to absolutely no improvement. But after you learn how to analyze behavior, you can say, hey, the data shows red buttons get 25% more clicks. See? That's not an opinion. It's a fact that leads to real, measurable success. And that's the whole point of the final sessions.
So after those 10 hours are up, what's the actual outcome? Well, it's not just about learning a piece of software. It's really about building a solid foundation for a data-driven future.
You're going to leave with tangible skills. You'll complete a final project where you analyze a real site and present your findings, just like a professional analyst would. You'll learn how to spot trends, understand ethical best practices, and, of course, you get proof of your new expertise.
And that proof? It's a certificate of completion. It's formal recognition that you have mastered the fundamentals of a skill that is absolutely essential in today's digital world.
But you know, a course like this does so much more than just teach a tool. It empowers you with a brand new way of seeing the world. From business to science, even to art, data is unlocking new answers and possibilities everywhere. And it leaves you with one final, really powerful question. What will you discover?